Good afternoon, children. Yesterday we talked about electromotive force and potential difference. We have also talked about Ohm's law already. Now, in class 10th also we had Ohm's law. We had combination of resistors also. And you have done numerical problems involving the resistances and potential difference. In some questions, potential difference was to be calculated, in some current and in some resistance. Now the specialty of those circuits was that they had only one source of potential difference. That is one cell or a battery. Now that you have to do in any case. Those simple problems should be known to you, which can be done by Ohm's law. Now little extension is there. Now suppose there is a circuit which involves more than one source of potential difference or battery. Then it becomes difficult to solve those problems using Ohm's law. In that case, now we'll talk about, to solve these type of problems, we'll be using Kirchhoff's rules. As far as the statement is concerned, to learn, you can do it from your NCERT book. I'll explain what is the statement and how it will be used in a circuit. Today I'll only be telling you how it is to be used in a circuit. Tomorrow we'll try to do two problems so that it becomes easier for you to understand. Today, after seeing this explanation, you will try doing one solved example 3.7 from your book. We'll again be repeating the same concept tomorrow with one or more two other examples. The number of problems of using Kirchhoff's law in your NCERT book is less. So for that you will have to use some extra book also to solve some other problems. One or two I'll give here, and I'll give you a sheet also in which we'll give you certain questions to solve based on Kirchhoff's laws. Now coming back to the statement of laws, how you are going to understand. See, Kirchhoff rules, there are two Kirchhoff rules which we talk about. Number one is junction rule. So I'm again repeating, ये रूल हमें कहाँ यूज करने हैं? जहां हमारा सर्किट थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो जाता है, जहां पर एक से ज्यादा सोर्स ऑफ पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस या ईएमएफ हो, क्योंकि हमने अभी तक इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस नहीं करे हैं. क्लास 10th में हमने वही क्वेश्चंस करे हैं जिसमें केवल एक सोर्स ऑफ पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस होता है. अब अगर हमारे सर्किट में, we'll take this example, this is given in your NCERT book. So first I have taken this example from your NCERT book itself. Junction rule. Since the circuit is big, we will have different currents in different branches. So junction rule states that at a given junction in the circuit, at a given junction, you know, where here it means that when the current will come and meet or leave from that particular point, that is the junction. So at the junction of any electrical circuit, the current entering the point or the junction is equal to the current leaving the junction. The current entering a junction is equal to the current leaving the junction. Now for example, we'll identify first the junction. See, here in this circuit, if we involve this circuit, this is junction say A and this is junction B. You can see there are only two junctions over here. These are not junctions. These are in continuation. Here the junction where current is coming from this side also, coming from this side, coming from this side also. And the same case with point D. That means if I consider any of the junction A or D, the current entering must be equal to current leaving the junction. In general, suppose I have got a junction in a circuit, say it is O. So some currents may come, some currents may leave depending upon the circuit. Let 3 branches are like this. Alright, say we can name them as I1, I2, I3, I4 and I5. According to the first rule, let us first find out how many currents are entering the junction. So you can see it is I1 and I2. So the total current entering the junction is I1 plus I2. You can see rest of them are leaving. Must be equal to I3 plus I4 plus I5. So this is in accordance with the junction rule at the junction O. Or in other words, we can state it as I1 plus I2 minus I3 minus I4 minus I5 is equal to 0. So that means current at the junction, total current at the junction must be 0. Whatever is entering must leave that junction. Nothing shall remain at the junction. If the same rule is now being applied in this circuit, suppose I take at junction A. See, current I3 is entering. Current, if I take junction A, I1 is leaving, I2 is leaving. That means I3 must be equal to I1 plus I2. Now I will again go back to the circuit. I think you might have understood the junction rule. See, whenever this type of problem is given to you, the very first thing is that you have to draw the direction of currents. Sometimes in your question, direction of currents will be given to you as I have given it to you already. Alright, because first you must know how to apply the junction rule. Later on we will see how these arrows will change your answer. Suppose I solve this problem, for example, and I get value of I2 say as 1 ampere, for example. I solve this whole problem using Kirchhoff rules. Later on you will see how we will solve. Suppose I get the answer of I2 as 1 ampere. That means whatever direction of current I have assumed already, the current will going to flow in the same direction. And suppose in case I would not have taken I2 as this direction, I would have taken it in this direction. For example, I can take any of the direction in the branch. Then my I2 will automatically come out to be minus 1 ampere. It will automatically, the answer will automatically come as minus 1. So what I'll understand from here? That whatever direction I had assumed for I2, now current shall be in opposite direction to that. Then I2 will be minus 1. Now we will continue with the same, this direction. This I just told you how this direction is going to just change the sign of the current, just indicating that in which direction the current is flowing. Now this is the junction. Now similarly we can apply this at junction D also. This is, you have to apply only once in your problem if required. For explaining, I'll just tell you how you can do it with for D also. You'll get the same expression. See, when I talk about D, I1 is entering. You can see I1 is entering D. I2 is entering D. And who is leaving? D point. I see. So this is the same equation. In this particular problem, there can be two different equations at two different junctions depending upon the circuit diagram. So this is a junction. You have to identify the junction in the given circuit. Apply junction rule. This is one part of this problem. Another part is loop or mesh rule. Loop or mesh rule. See, loop means loop or mesh means a closed circuit. Now the second step is to identify the number of closed circuit in the given circuit diagram. See, in this, there are three closed circuits. There are three closed circuits. Which ones? See. One is A, D, E, F, A. This is one mesh or loop. Second, A, D, C, B, A. You can also write down A, B, C, D, A. You can also, it's the same thing. Either write it in this manner or write it in this manner. A, B, C, D, A. This is the second closed loop or second mesh. Third, F, E, D, C, B, A, F. Or F, A, B, C, D, E. I can also write down F, B, C, E, F. Intermediate points may not be written. So in this way, I am now having three closed mesh. So very first thing for the second rule is we'll have to identify the closed circuits. And whenever I will deal with one circuit, I'll forget that there are other circuits present or not. Clear? Now we'll try to write down an equation depending upon the rule. Now what does this rule say? This rule says that the total potential difference across any resistors and the potential difference provided in the circuit. See, certainly when this cell is there, potential difference will be there because of these currents through these resistors. So the total potential difference across the circuit must be equal to 0. Now how? See, I'll tell you one answer. There are various methods by which you can write the equation correctly. You can opt for any one method. But now I'll explain one of the methods, how to do it so that you don't make mistake in making the equation. See, the main thing what we are talking in physics is how to apply these rules to make equations, and then equations will certainly be solved. See, that is simple mathematics. Like you have been solving equation in class 10th or if you are not in class 11th and 12th also, biology students, like up to 10th they have done how to solve the equations. So it is just the solution of equation only then. And we'll try to keep only two variables in the equation so that it is easily calculated. Now we see how to make the equations. Again I am telling, we'll do it today. Try to do it. We'll again repeat the same thing tomorrow taking examples of some new problems. See, when I take this closed mesh, A, D, E, F, A. Now in this is, first step is, one of the direction of the current is to be taken positive and the other as negative. So what I will see is it is anti-clockwise. Since it is a closed circuit, so we cannot take left and right. We'll take clockwise or anti-clockwise. So what I am going to do is, I'll take anti-clockwise positive, and therefore clockwise will be automatically become negative direction for current. This is up to you. You can take the other way around, but don't keep on changing it from question to question. Whatever sign convention you will keep, that you will keep for every problem, and at least same in a given problem. ये नहीं है कि एक मैश में आपने ये पॉजिटिव और ये नेगेटिव ले लिया और दूसरे मैश में आपने ये नेगेटिव और ये पॉजिटिव ले लिया. सारे मैश की एक प्रॉब्लम के जितने भी आप क्वेश्चंस करेंगे, जितने भी सर्किट्स के आप इक्वेशन बनाएंगे, उसमें एक ही डायरेक्शन पॉजिटिव लेंगे और एक ही डायरेक्शन negative. So what we are going to take? We are going to take anti-clockwise positive. Now how will you make the equation? See, we'll identify the various resistors first. एक रेजिस्टर मेरे पास ये है, एक रेजिस्टर मेरे पास ये है इस सर्किट में, और एक रेजिस्टर मेरे पास ये है. अब मुझे देखना है कि किसमें कौन सा करंट जा रहा है. Once I am talking about this mesh, forget about this part. We'll consider only this. We are not concerned with this. So we'll start writing from one place. See, I'll start writing from here. What is this direction? This is a clockwise direction. Clockwise is negative. So minus I1. And how the potential difference will be created? IR. I1 into 30. Come here. 1. Current is, see, I3. From here I3 is flowing this branch. And I3 is going how? Again clockwise. Clockwise is negative. Minus I3 into 1. Minus I3 into 40. ठीक है? All the resistance we have involved. Now come to the potential difference or the cell or the battery. Is equals to. This is the way how you will write, so that you don't make any mistake. For this direction is to be checked by moving from positive terminal to negative terminal. See, when I move from positive to negative in this mesh, it will go like this. Which direction? Positive. Similar as we have taken for currents, the same will automatically come for EMF also. See, clockwise. Clockwise means negative. That means minus 45. The total potential drop across each and every resistor must be equal to the potential being applied in that particular mesh. Signs taken as are explained to you. So this is one equation. Okay. Second, if I take this mesh, now forget about this branch. Forget about this branch. Okay. See, this is current I3. This is current I2. I can start from here. We can start from anywhere. Now see, I2 is flowing how? Anti-clockwise. So, positive. I2 into 1. Now 20, same current is flowing. Plus I2 into 20. Come here. This is again anti-clockwise. See. So anti-clockwise is positive. Minus I3 into 1. It is anti-clockwise plus. Then plus I3 into 40. All resistances are done. Is equal to. How many source of potential difference? 1 and 2. See. So as we are done in the first part, move from positive to negative terminal. How is this? Anti-clockwise. Positive. 45. Positive to, here we had gone positive to negative anti-clockwise, positive to negative anti-clockwise again, so positive plus 8. So now we'll get two equations. See, this I3 and I3 can be taken together. You'll get minus 30 I1 minus 41 I3 is equal to minus 45. So you can change the sign of all these three. So you'll get 30 I1 plus 41 I3 is equals to 45. This will be your equation number 2. This was your equation number 1. Now here also you can get in the same manner 21 I2 plus 41 I3 is equals to 8 and 4 12 125 volt. Okay? Now in this way you have obtained two equations. Now just see, there are three variables 1, 2 and 3. I1, I2 and I3. You can reduce it into two variables because solving two equations for three variables will be difficult. Even if you have got three equations, three equations with three variables, it will be difficult for you to solve. So we'll try to reduce it by having only two variables, and for that I can use this equation. I3 can be substituted as I1 and I2 here. Solve for I1 and I2. Once you get I1 and I2, you can add it up here to get I3. So this is the way how you will make the equation. See, and it is not necessary that you involve all the meshes. Like now I don't require this mesh. Or if I use this and this, then we will not require this mesh. So any of the two meshes will solve the problem depending upon the question. So first you try to do this problem. This is an example to explain the Kirchhoff's rules in your NCERT book. Go through it. There's a one solved example which is given in your book. I'll just tell you what the example is. That is solved example 3.7. That you can try. Instead of 3.6, do 3.7 first. And then we'll do some other one or two problems tomorrow. That will make it more clear. Thank you.